Hello and welcome to the final talk of the Blockchain Z Days conference. Your speaker this evening will be Matt Lockyer, but just before I give you an introduction to Matt, I just want to remind everybody that whilst you're listening to this, if you've got any thoughts or observations or comments that you want to share with other people that are also dialed in and listening to that, then please do use the chat function, which you'll find to the top right-hand corner of the page on the Community Z website. If you do have any specific questions for Matt, we can pick those up towards the end. Please use the Q&A section for that, which you will find next to the chat. Just to introduce Matt, he's an active developer and strategist in the crypto ecosystem. In 2018, he wrote the standard for composable NFTs, and his article on token curated registries was published in A16Z's Crypto Canon reading list. He's founded and participated in several movements in the Ethereum ecosystem and is currently the engineering director of the developer relations team at Near Protocol. Matt, welcome, and over to you.
Hi, thanks, Gordon, for that lovely intro. So I'm going to jump right into the presentation, and in order to do that, I'll have to share my screen. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to assume that everything went perfectly well with that. So today I'd like to talk about why Near has eco-friendly NFTs, and not just eco-friendly NFTs, but like really amazing and fun and flexible NFTs. I'm going to be doing a live demo of how you, as a developer, even with no crypto or blockchain background, can build your own NFT marketplace in about 5 minutes. And also, I'm going to actually show some live NFT apps, and we're just kind of going to generally like mess around and have some fun.
Okay, before you go any further, Matt, you're not in slideshow mode at the moment.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm going to actually have to present, but then I'm also going to have to hop around to a bunch of different screens. So I'll be doing a live demo. Thanks, though.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll start with the presentation now, and we'll go through these slides. So if you'd like to follow along with these slides, you can go to bit.ly/matt-near-slide-bz. I realize that's a bit long, so hopefully you can grab that, and then that will get you into these slides yourself, and you can follow along if you want. So here's a brief outline of my talk. So I'm going to explain why you should choose Near Protocol to build on. I'm going to speak about our amazing community. I'm going to go over some of the high-level developer concepts while a demo is basically quote-unquote baking and kind of like getting set up. And then we're going to click around in the demo and have some fun. And then I'm going to basically talk about some NFT standards, and then why Near is a perfect choice for creative projects. So obviously creators and communities are launching a lot of digital goods, digital merchandise, and creative projects. And then I'm going to show you some live apps and resources. So first of all, why Near? So the Near team, from its beginning, basically had this kind of motto that they think everyone, developers and even users should be able to create and own and exchange value on the internet. So what that means is that Near is extremely easy to develop smart contracts and apps on. It's fast, it's inexpensive, and scalable. We have a flexible account system, which I'll speak about a little bit later, but it allows for incredible user experience for users, even if they do not understand, crypto or blockchain, or even if the developer would like to hide it completely. And we're connected to Ethereum as well, so we can tap into all of the amazing work that's been done since Ethereum launched in 2015. And we have an amazing community. So I'll speak a little bit about the eco-friendly blockchain part and then the community. So we were certified as climate neutral by South Pole Global, which is sort of a blue chip carbon offset and sort of auditing firm. So that's really great news. So you can launch your projects on Near without fear of basically damaging the environment. And I'll speak about our community. So we have amazing projects building on Near right now, with lots of exciting launches coming this summer or have already launched. Collabland is one such partner. They're a developer API for basically full-blown end-to-end NFT marketplace. James Young is actually the creator of token curated registries. He's the co-founder of the Moloch DAO, and he is, if you've ever gone into a Discord or a Telegram chat that has been sort of protected by you owning some tokens, that is also collab land. Chloe the dev is our one of our community directors, and she's done an amazing job with CreateBase community, and CreateBase basically supports the Mintbase project, but all sort of creator and community projects on Near Protocol. Speaking of Mintbase, Mintbase just launched on Near Protocol a few weeks ago. They're a very successful marketplace for launching NFTs. They started on Ethereum. They had over 1,000 different stores created, and now they've moved over to Near, and they're over several hundred stores now. Flex Protocol is basically a data-driven protocol for basically kind of like providing Oracle data to other apps. So Peter and Jasper, the founders of Flex, have been with Near since the beginning, and they've provided this incredible tool for developers to create all sorts of kind of apps that basically use data from outside of the blockchain. And Paras.id, Paras is an NFT marketplace that was actually one of the first on Near, and the founders are from Indonesia, and they started with an identity protocol, but they pivoted to be an NFT marketplace, and they're pretty wildly successful right now. So that's really good, and it's great to see. And speaking of climate, this is my personal friend, Joseph Pallant from the Blockchain for Climate Foundation. And he also lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, where I live. And here's us wearing our Near Rainbow Bridge hoodies and our Blockchain for Climate hoodies. And he also has been in the climate space for 15 years. And he basically helped kind of give us feedback on the South Pole Global climate stuff that sort of helps make Near climate neutral. So thanks, Joseph. So now I'm going to do demo part one. I'm going to have to exit out. Whoops. I'm going to have to exit out of the slide presentation here. I've got overlapping kind of interfaces here with Zoom and the slides. So demo part one is basically me. I am going to pretend to be a developer setting up an NFT marketplace. So I'm going to go to the Near-Apps organization on GitHub. So you can go to github.com Near-Apps. And what these are is these are full-blown app examples for you to clone and to use yourself. So you can go to the code and you can basically copy the code right there. Now I'm going to switch to my IDE, and basically I'm just using VS Code. So just like anyone would. I'm going to have to get into, I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to have to get into my, make it really big, get into my projects repo. And I guess, I don't know what's in here. I guess I can just do it right here. So I'm going to clone the NFT market repo, and I'm just going to call it, I'll call it Z-Days. So it's going to build that, or just pull all that data down. Then I'm going to basically go into Z-Days, and I'm going to run yarn and yarn test deploy. So what this is going to do is this is going to install everything that I need. Obviously, you've heard of the npm command or the yarn command. So yarn is just an alias for npm, well, different, but similar. And basically, I'm going to run a script that's going to run through a bunch of tests for this repository. And what that does is that actually compiles the smart contracts and deploys them on the blockchain. Now, obviously, your mileage will vary based on the fact that you need to have Rust installed and you need to have a few other kind of developer dependencies. It's all detailed here in the README. So just please, go through this and check it out. There's a lot of friendly videos to support your experience here, including this one, which is probably the best, the test tour and deploy kind of walkthrough. So this is really designed as sort of self-serve content for you. Compiling Rust contracts takes a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the presentation now, and we'll check in on this in a moment. So just covering some of the developer concepts. So you're basically going to be building your own applications that essentially manage like digital ownership and scarcity on the blockchain. And how do you do that? Well, you're going to need to basically have these smart contracts deployed. Your users are going to have various accounts, kind of like bank accounts, and they're going to be accessing different sort of data structures, which would be sort of, you know, different account types. Like over here, I have a credit card. Over here, I have a safety deposit box. Over here, I have a high interest savings account, things like that. So basically, you as the developer are going to have to create an app where you have accounts, balances, and views and calls are just basically, you know, you're going to be doing some reading from the blockchain, and you're going to be doing some actual, like, you know, like calling some methods and changing some of that blockchain state. But you can't do any of that without any tools to talk to the blockchain. So we have a couple of tools that developers use. We have Near API.js, which is our JavaScript library, and we have Near CLI, which is really just a wrapper around Near API.js, but it's very convenient to just use from the command line. So you can basically, you can get like keys for accounts, you can query all sorts of information. So it's super helpful. The other thing that you're responsible for is developing your contracts. So basically, you're going to write your contracts in the Rust programming language or assembly script, which is a TypeScript kind of style version that compiles to WASM. So basically, we use WASM-based contracts. That's WebAssembly. And that is going to handle the data storage and the ownership part. So as I mentioned before, you know, credit card account, escrow account, safety deposit box, all sorts of things like NFTs, digital merchandise. What do you own? Where do you own it? That is all going to eventually end up happening on the blockchain by way of transactions. So let's drill into some of these concepts. So I mentioned, you know, a bunch of concepts here, and we're going to kind of break them apart. So as you develop for accounts, your application is going to need to interface with the account ID. So every account has a unique, and this is an important point, a human readable identifier. So instead of like kind of, I don't know if you've used Ethereum, it has sort of like a 0x, you know, blah, 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 blah. And there are services like the ENS, which is the Ethereum naming service, and unstoppable domains and stuff. But basically, Near protocol has that built in at the protocol level. So that's really helpful for developers and for users. So you're going to need to interact with the balance of this account, and you're going to need to, your app is going to actually need to develop and use keys. And what's different about Near than other blockchains is that one account with that human readable name, so for example, matt.near, one account can have many keys. And what's great about the keys is that they actually have powerful access control features. So one key can basically be limited to only talk to one smart contract that is on chain. So your app is basically the on-chain part on the blockchain is composed of these smart contracts, and you can give the user a key that really can only talk to one of those contracts, and all the way down to specifically one method in those contracts. So you can start to see how that kind of access control list and access control at the key level, and having an account with many different keys that are sort of special purpose can be a very, very powerful concept. I'm just going to stop here for 1 sec. I just want to double check and make sure that everything's running well with the tests. Oh, no, and it all failed. And I'm just going to double check why. Yeah, so it looks like it's just timing out. I'm going to run this again, and I'm just going to take a sec to look at this. So sometimes based on my internet connection or based on like how my tests call, because it's actually calling out to our testnet, which is basically a simulated kind of version of our main network. based on how the networking works, when I'm doing a live talk, I might actually drop some of the responses, and then my JavaScript tests don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to take a quick gander and make sure that things are running well. I can explain a little bit about this though while we talk about it. So basically, what it's doing is it prints out a lot of this information. It says retrying. I hope this stuff works. If not, I have kind of a backup. We can just sort of discuss a little bit of the code. Looks like some stuff is working now. Yeah. So what it's doing is it's actually setting up a whole full-blown marketplace. This marketplace actually, it deploys 3 different contracts. So it deploys a fungible token contract that is sort of a stand-in for a stable coin. So you can think of it like a replacement for dollars. It deploys an NFT contract, and it basically, that's where we create and mint digital merchandise from. So that's the ledger for the digital merchandise. And then it creates a marketplace contract, which can handle really kind of not very complex, but it can handle auctions. So basically you can put things up for sale there, and you can exchange things between 2 users. So it's safe to take an NFT that you own in the NFT contract and then put it up for sale and approve it for sale in the marketplace contract. And then basically somebody can come and they can bid, or they could offer, or if you've listed it for a specific price, but it's not up for auction, then if they pay that exact price, they will get that NFT. So that's really cool, actually. There's lots of flexibility there. And this is really a backbone for you as a developer to deploy. So I think it looks like it's successful now. So I'll finish up the concepts. So we'll go through the rest of the concepts here. So just an overview, I basically talked about accounts. I talked about why they're powerful with different keys and different access control. But now let's dive into like those contracts. So what are contracts really? So smart contracts actually are not very smart. They're kind of stupid because they do exactly what you tell them to do. So you also need users with the aforementioned keys that I was talking about to make transactions on these contracts. So what your contracts really do is they create like an agreement between what's on chain and what can be done with what is on chain. And you'll hear me speak about like on chain a lot. So on chain just really means like in the blockchain database. So if you come from like sort of a traditional background, it's sort of like, it is really like a hard software contract of what you're allowed to do with an API. So you're going to build this application, you're going to build this API, you're going to deploy these smart contracts that are going to enforce the API. And what that does is that actually enforces that digital scarcity. So what do you do with these contracts? Well, typically you only handle the digital ownership side of things. So the actual ledger and sort of financial and value-based implications. So for example, you'll handle payments. You'll also handle things like digital merchandise and sort of markers of what should basically be a scarce object that exists in the world, just as scarce as a physical object would be. You know, if you go, let's say you're a band and you're going to print 500 t-shirts and you're going to sell them at a concert. You could print 500 virtual t-shirts and there will only ever be 500 of those virtual t-shirts. So that you accomplish all of that by using collections. So typical sort of insert, remove, get. We have a lot of collection support in our SDK. So it's really, really easy to understand, like, do I need a map? Do I need a set? What kind of collection do I need to accomplish various tasks? So that's what contracts are. So if we put it all together at the high level, what we get is you developing your app and your contracts, and then eventually you deploy these contracts. And once they're on the blockchain, they're basically, you know, they're kind of hard and fast rules about how users can interact with your app. And then we have a user, and the user basically has a lot of these keys, and they primarily interact with your application on the blockchain using keys. But of course, your front-end application prompts the user to do various things with these keys. And then what they really do with these keys is they're really dipping in and out of these collections that I mentioned, and they're modifying kind of the data stored on the blockchain. So that's basically it for concepts. So let's jump back to that demo, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's working. Once again, I have this funny Zoom interface thing. I'll have to figure this out. Oh. Okay. There we go. So let's get back here. Oh, we had one of the tests failed, but I don't think it matters. Now I have a Zoom thing stuck. I have something stuck on my screen from Zoom. Thanks, Zoom.
You can grab the Zoom bar and just drag it.
Yeah, I know. But I had clicked more, and then it was like stuck with like a big thing in my window. Yeah. Okay, so this is just a JavaScript error. So I basically work on this all the time. So forgive me, you know, there's one out of 27 tests are failing, but it's just a JavaScript error, and it doesn't actually change anything that was deployed on the blockchain. So don't worry about it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the folder of the, it's in projects Z-Days. So I'm going to open this project folder now, and we're going to, what is this? I've never seen this before. Whatever. Okay, so basically I'm going to go through the project structure really quick. So we have the contracts, which I mentioned to you. There are three. There's a fungible token, which basically fungible, just, you know, money, right? It's a stand-in for a stable coin. There's the marketplace where you can buy and sell NFTs. And then there's the actual NFT contract itself, which is like the ledger for the digital merchandise. So this is where the market is, where auctions happen and stuff like that. Each one of these has its own sort of source folder. Each one of these is basically its own full-blown Rust project. We have a package.json, which basically has a lot of helpful scripts that ties it all together. So you can explore that if you want to know kind of what did yarn test deploy do, for example. So test deploy is here. So you can check that out. Let's go into the source, let's go into the test folder. So the tests that were run are in this file called app.test.js, and there's quite a bit of tests, reasonably well documented to let you know what's going on. So basically, everything boots up. I create a bunch of example users, and they go through a full-blown scenario of like creating NFTs, bidding on NFTs, outbidding each other. There's a lot of checks to make sure that when one user outbids another user, the funds come back to the user that had the lower bid. All of this stuff is kind of exciting if you're actually in this space and you're sort of building with this digital merchandise, because it can go live and people can actually bid on items. Then I want to bring your attention to this source folder. So this is where there's just a standard React app, which I'm going to actually boot up in just a moment. And we're going to look at this app, and we're going to basically, we're going to look at an app. So a front-end React application, like a static front-end React app. It doesn't have any database or any back-end requirements other than these contracts that were deployed on the blockchain. And it speaks directly to the Near blockchain and allows you to see the NFTs that you just created. So I'm going to do that right now by running yarn start, and it should boot up in my browser, and boom. Okay, so what am I looking at? I'm actually looking at an NFT marketplace that was deployed just now while we were talking, with all of its various components and different contracts and stuff that I mentioned. And there's still some sort of residual NFTs here. It says owned by Alice. The reason why there's all these jumbly numbers and stuff is because every time you run tests, you want to run it from a clean slate. So it's just basically using like a timestamp. But what I'm going to do is I just want to actually, I lost my other window where I had the information about this, but I need to grab something. I'm going to actually see if I have it. No, I don't have anything there. I just want, oh, I can grab it from the config here. So I want to grab the main contract account ID here. So I mentioned every account has a human readable name, but not these developer accounts. That's very non-human readable. It's just a bunch of numbers. But I do want to show you one of our amazing tools built by our team. It's our blockchain explorer. So if you've ever used Ethereum, you've probably run into a tool called Etherscan. Result not found. Okay, hang on. Oh, that's not good. No. I think it is definitely going to be here somewhere. Hang on one sec. Z-Days test. It should definitely be this one. I don't know why I can't get to that one. That's really strange. I should be able to look at this marketplace. It's pretty strange that I'm looking at it right now and I'm actually getting information. I'm just gonna quickly, oh no, are these different? No, they're the same. Okay, that's really weird. So somehow I'm reading data from the blockchain, but it's not in the Explorer. Our Explorer is awesome. Sorry about the fact that it's not working here. I mean, I should be able to kind of look at what I'm looking at with this contract right here. We'll just drag this Zoom thing again. Okay, I've turned something on. Mouse, exit that. Okay. Just give me one moment. I don't know why I can't see that. This should be the account. Or wait, sorry. Give me one sec. Maybe I have to actually just kind of hack through this. Yay! Oh, but it's showing 0 transactions. So something's going on with the Explorer right now. Not a big deal. I can actually look at, I'll look at a different one. So I know I have one on testnet. It's probably still cached here. So this is from a different NFT marketplace. So I made one for a project that I was building. So I just remembered the name. For some reason, the Explorer is a little sluggish. So I just deployed this. So it's not registering. The Explorer doesn't actually look at the blockchain directly. It looks at the blockchain through sort of like a caching layer. So think of it sort of as it might actually be just a little slow at showing results. But basically, this is a project that I deployed. It's exactly the same as this sort of NFT marketplace. And you'll see a bunch of things like offer, NFT approve, it's a little bit more complex, so it has other things going on. And then based on this project, there's a derivative sort of contract that was deployed, the marketplace contract, and you see NFT approve, offer, things like that. So these transactions have actually gone through just for fun, and we can explore this in a bit. This project is actually deployed live on testnet. And it actually is an NFT marketplace for creating interactive NFTs. So you can actually have reactive music and a bunch of other stuff. It's playing very loud in my speakers right now. And there's some kind of fun demos there. If my voice went up, it's because it was like screaming in my ear, the music. Okay, so basically this is a demo. I wanted to get you to this point and basically say, once you're here, you do have a React app that is connected to a smart contract that is, live on our testnet. And you can basically go into this React app. You can edit it. You can change any of the front end. You can actually mint NFTs. So you can go to like Giphy and let's see, what's a fun GIF? I guess I'll just take this and I'm just going to mint this URL. You can add royalties. So you can share in the royalty percentage of the gross sale of the NFT and every subsequent sale and sort of trade after. So when I go ahead and mint that, I have to approve that transaction.
I think your screen
Oh,
sharing may have frozen,
there we
Matt.
go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I'm back. So sorry if I was talking over this. So you're now basically in this NFT app. I signed in. I don't think you saw that, but basically you can sign out, you can sign back in. It's Near is pretty fast, so it only takes like a second to sign in and out of apps. And what you're doing when you're signing in and out actually is you're making one of those keys that I mentioned before. So I created a new NFT. This one was created by the tests running, and it says, I own this. So I can go and you do have to register with the marketplace to sell NFTs. So the reason for this is because when you sell an NFT, you're actually putting data on the blockchain, and you have to pay a little bit to put that data on the blockchain. So you have to pay a little bit to list your NFT for some price. So I'll list it for like 4 NEAR tokens. So right now I'm listing this NFT for sale. And that means people can bid on it, or they can pay for NEAR tokens exactly, and they can actually get the NFT. So I am logged in as the user si1.testnet, si1.testnet. I'm going to log out, and I'm going to connect as a different user. I'll connect as this account. So now I'm not si1.testnet anymore. I'm md1.testnet. And I'm actually going to buy this NFT from si1.testnet. It pays a royalty to me, but whatever. So I'm going to make an offer of 4 NEAR tokens, and I'm actually going to buy that NFT from si1.testnet. So it'll show that I actually own the NFT. So it says you own this. And if I look at my NFTs, that's one of my NFTs that I own. So sorry, I can't show you this on the Explorer. For whatever reason, it's a little sluggish right now. But yeah, that's it for that. So that is NEAR-apps on GitHub. So github.com NEAR-apps. And you can find it under the NFT-market repository. And yeah, we're constantly kind of doing releases to this and making the developer experience a little smoother. So look forward to that. Let me talk a little bit about NFT standards on NEAR. So we have our NFT core standard, which is like the main smart contract. We also have royalties, which you can add. So you kind of saw a bit of that in action in the demo that I just showed you that you can deploy yourself. And we have metadata standards. So metadata is basically just a standard way for all NFTs to describe themselves and their media and whatnot. Where I'm also working on a multi-token standard and what's something called lazy minting, which is basically like minting on demand, so that you can basically create a sort of a template or a class definition, a blueprint of an NFT, and you can say you want to sell 1 million NFTs for $20 a piece. So look forward to those coming out soon. So finally, I'm just going to wrap up by talking about why NEAR is a great choice for creators. So if you couldn't tell from the demo that I just launched, pretty easy to clone a repository and write a few commands, and then basically just stare at a React application and get started. So it's easy for developers to create stuff. But where I think the real kind of opportunities are coming with NEAR and just crypto in general is tying together not just the NFT, minting ownership, using NFTs as sort of a bit of a timekeeper of things happening. There's a connection to something called DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations. So another thing you can use the blockchain for is basically voting, membership, roles, reputation, and also connecting to finance, of course, which was sort of the original use case of cryptocurrency. So NEAR has a really great, initiatives going on kind of on all these fronts. And by bringing these 3 elements together, creation, governance, and finance, you can actually do some incredible stuff. So we're going to be publishing a lot more about this. We have just too many projects to mention that are launching in the next kind of couple of months. So I look forward to that. So what we're really doing with talks like this is we're calling on all of you, the web developers, the iOS developers, the Android developers, to basically bridge your Web 2 kind of experience into what we call Web 3, which is basically, it's the web, it's, SaaS products and services, it's video games, it's app marketplaces, and all sorts of interactions around those things and use cases that we've never even heard of yet. It's bringing all of that into an internet of value and tying it all together. We have the bridge to Ethereum, which I mentioned before. And we also have financial kind of swapping protocols where you can swap tokens and create new tokens. And we have this decentralized autonomous organization initiative that you can basically clone and create exactly like I showed you with the NFT Marketplace. That's called Sputnik. You can go to the link in the slides here. So we'd love to have your amazing SDK API protocol developer tool in Near on Near, and you can apply for grants to get that done at near.org/grants. So finally, let's just quickly go through what's live. So we've got Mintbase, we've got Collabland, we've got Paras, we've got, I mentioned those in the community overview. We've got Pluminite, which is basically I'm gonna have to click out to some of these. Pluminite is how do I do this really quickly? Yeah, click it and it should open a new tab. So Pluminite, it's kind of like that NFT market I showed before, and you can actually, this is on our main network, so you can actually create like NFTs like right now, and you get 3 free NFTs once you get started with a Near account. And then Generate is my app that I'm building, and I'm going to release it on mainnet really soon. We've got a few others. I want to talk about some developer resources. So I mentioned Sputnik DAO, but you've got to see this website. It's amazing. So this explains how decentralized autonomous organizations work and how they're powering the governance of like open source projects. They're helping open source projects get funding. They're helping all sorts of organizations that sort of exist and transcend, borders and different sort of, weird stuff that we kind of have to deal with in sort of the traditional world, payments and borders and voting and all sorts of stuff. DAOs really help to address those coordination issues amongst people that want to organize around an idea. So I mentioned the bridge, Aurora, Ref Finance for swapping tokens. Aurora is a really interesting one. If you come from an Ethereum background, you can basically deploy Ethereum contracts on Near, and you can also have your users interact with those contracts using their familiar wallets like MetaMask and any of the wallets that they're familiar with from Ethereum. And lastly, here's some developer resources that are part of this presentation. So I'm going to wrap up now, but I do want to kind of give a quick summary. So I told you kind of why Near is important and a little bit about our climate neutrality, which is a really strong point for some of us. And I told you a little bit about our amazing developer community that's literally growing so fast. I can't even keep up with it. I don't even know all of the applications that are launching on Near. I don't know what's launched, what's happened when, because I'm just one person. But we're really seeing like a flourishing of this Near ecosystem. I showed you the NFT market repo here on GitHub under the Near-apps organization. And basically, this was a kind of a clone and go example where you can get all the way to, I think it's still running on localhost. You can get all the way to an NFT marketplace where you can basically start minting and creating NFTs on the test network right away within just a few minutes. So basically, to kind of pull it all together, there's no reason to not kind of spend an afternoon, mess around with Near protocol, kind of click around a bit, get to know it, and get to know some of the tools that we're working with and some of the amazing developers in our ecosystem. So thanks for the time and opportunity today, Community Z. And I don't know if we have time for any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great, Matt. Thanks very much for that. Loads of information there. suffering a little bit from what we in the UK would call the tomorrow's world effect, which is demonstrating stuff live that works perfectly till you try and do it in front of a live audience. So,
of course,
it's one of those things that often trips things up. We have had a few questions come through in the Q&A, so I'm just going to go through them from what we've got in the Community Z website. So one first questions we had was, are there any voting examples or tutorials based on NEAR that are available for study? I know you were talking about Sputnik there. Is that the best one to have a look at, or is there any other more detailed guidance?
Yeah, that's a great question. The best place to look is just that website, sputnik.fund. So it's SPUTNIK.FUND. And that will actually get you into the whole world of Sputnik, the community, the developer resources, the chat, the support. So you can use that as sort of your portal into all of the stuff that's happening. A fun fact though, Gordon, is we've had over 100 Sputnik DAOs created. So sometimes these are like large kind of organizations around like a large pool of money. I mean large in terms of like money, not necessarily members, but basically, sorry, not always large pools of money. Like sometimes it's like somebody makes a Sputnik DAO and they put like $50 into it and they say, you know, if enough people make proposals, like I'll give them $10 for pizza or something. So sometimes people just kind of use it as like an experiment, but this is 100 different releases of these little autonomous organizations on our main network, over 100. So it's very exciting to see people create small organizations around really just ephemeral use cases, because this is something that we as humans have kind of never been able to do. Like, I mean, you know, if you and me, Gordon, we're obviously living in different places, judging by your accent. You know, if you and me wanted to get together behind a concept and we wanted to say, you know, fund a creator in Thailand to produce and sell t-shirts, and we wanted to give them the startup capital to do so, it would be very difficult, right? But we can do that, and we can give a creator in Thailand, you know, $1,500 and get them started, and then they can start producing t-shirts and selling them at the local farmers market or something. So things like this are really kind of powerful, kind of micro use cases of kind of moving value around on the internet, and then coordinating and voting and deciding where that value goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of low code, no code sort of kind of Kickstarter type environments, I think, are absolutely vital. And you end up kind of really just being limited by your imagination rather than by the technology. Some of the other questions that we've got come up through here. So does NEAR have any sort of payment gateway to other crypto networks or like Ether?
Yeah, so we have the bridge that I mentioned before. So that's ethereum.bridgetonear.com. So obviously with the structure of that URL, you can imagine that there might be some more blockchains coming. The bridge team's going to hate me for saying that, but you know, they'll get to work on it. So basically you can actually bridge not just Ethereum to NEAR, but you can actually bridge ERC20 tokens that exist on Ethereum. So you know that a lot of these tokens like DAI, which is basically a stable coin, and a bunch of tokens that represent various crypto projects that live on Ethereum, you can actually bring those tokens over to NEAR.
Okay, that's cool. Question, where NEAR is traded and how can I buy it?
Oh, I really shouldn't talk about that. So, but yeah. Like a cursory Google search will turn up some results, but I'm not really. I'm more of a developer person.
Okay, we'll leave that one there. There's a question from Daniel Simpson. So he said, you mentioned you need to pay the fee to blockchain a sale of NFT, but presumably minting your NFT token would also incur that fee?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I think the person asking that question is trying to drill into is, how much does storage cost on the NEAR blockchain? If you are actually creating things on Ethereum, so if you're basically doing transactions, you're basically going to, the gas model is a little different from NEAR. You're going to burn gas to store stuff. On NEAR, you do burn gas to store things, but you burn much less. So it's much cheaper to store things. But what you do is you actually lock up NEAR to store things. So what you can actually do with Near, which is kind of cool, is you can park a bunch of data and then basically lock up some Near tokens to do so. And then you can actually say that you don't want that data like kind of in hot storage anymore, and you can reclaim your Near. So really, we use sort of what's called a storage renting model for what is sort of currently live on the blockchain. Now the question is, hey, I thought blockchains were immutable. How could you add something and delete it? That's kind of weird. Well, it is immutable, and we do have archival nodes that will always kind of keep a record that data did exist in that block at that particular point in time. But having this different model allows us to kind of keep storage costs and keep sort of these gas burning costs really, really low. So I hope I did an okay job explaining that. But basically, you'll probably require some further reading. But it's a good model. It allows us to keep things kind of fast and fluid, and it's going to allow the Near blockchain to really scale.
Okay. All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up there. We did have another couple of questions in there, but we'll pass those on to you, and hopefully you'll be able to follow up offline with that, or put the answers into the Q&A section on the Community Z website. Thanks very much for a fascinating session, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting you. And also to everybody that's dialed in and listening, thanks for your participation, your attention during the Blockchain Z Days. This is the last talk of the conference. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing you on the next event. Thank you and goodbye.